Today we're going to talk about decimal place value through the 10,000ths place. Decimals are another way to write fractions, but not just any fractions. We're talking about fractions with special denominators like 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. In order to have decimal place value, you need to have a fraction that has a denominator that's a power of 10. We can use place value positions to name decimals. Now, the thing about place values, you guys are very familiar with place value on the left side of our decimal point. We've got tens, ones, hundreds, thousands, and so on and so forth. And the bigger to the left of the decimal you get, the bigger this way you go, the bigger your number is. Well, decimal place value is the opposite. We still have similar place values, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, but the further away from the decimal you go to the right, the smaller your number is. And so that's a little bit different, and it takes some getting used to. Now, the first way we're going to talk about decimal place value is how to turn a fraction into a decimal. And there's actually a pretty easy process that we can use. The first thing you want to do is look at your denominator. Your denominator tells you the place value you're looking at. So this fraction right here is 27 hundredths. So the denominator 100 tells us that we're going to end our number in this place value spot right here, our hundredths place. Now we're going to look at our numerator. Our numerator is 27. That tells me I have 27 hundredths. So the 7 in that number goes in my hundredths spot. The 2 goes right in front of it, and my decimal is right here. So in front of the decimal, I'm going to put a little 0 to help me show where my decimal is. And the way we turn 27 hundredths into a decimal is we write it like this, 0 decimal point 27, which is 27 hundredths. Let's try the same thing for this fraction, 134 thousandths. So thousandths, 1,000 there, it tells me that my number is going to end in this place value spot because this is where my thousandths are. So again, look at your numerator, 134. And you want to write that number so the last digit is in the thousandths spot. So 134, and the 4 is in the thousandths. So again, I'll stick a 0 in front of that decimal place, and I can see the way to write this number looks like this. Now, decimals are parts of a whole. They're fractions. They make up numbers that are less than 1. But sometimes you have numbers that are bigger than 1. And when we write mixed numbers, we know we have a number bigger than 1. This 8 that's in front of my fraction is a whole number. And since it's in front of the fraction, it actually goes in front of the decimal point. So there's my 8. Now I'm going to take this fraction and write it the same way as I have before. So I know I've got thousandths, so the last digit of my number is going to go here in my thousandths spot, and my numerator tells me I have 14 thousandths. So my 4 goes in my thousandths spot, my 1 goes right in front of it, so I can say I have 14 thousandths, but the problem is, what goes here? I don't have anything here, so I fill it with a 0, which kind of holds that place. So I have my 8, my decimal point, and then a 0, and a 1, and a 4. So now we're going to change numbers that are written out in words into decimals. And there are two ways to think about this, okay? We can do it the way we did it before, 59 hundredths. We can think of this as a fraction. 59 hundredths would look like this, 59 100ths. And then I can use this denominator to help me out. The other thing I can do is I can just look at my words. This number tells me the last place value place I'm going to have, hundredths. So that's right here. So what I want to do is take the number we're talking about, 59, and write that so that it fills up these place value spots. The 9 has to end in my hundredths spot, and then I have 59, and again, just put a 0 in front of my decimal point. So 59 hundredths looks like that. Here's one where we have a whole number. And I can tell I have a whole number because this word and. So what I have here is 3 wholes and 117 thousandths. So 3 and, we'll start there. The 3 goes in front of the decimal point. The decimal point is like my word and. 3 wholes and this part. 117 thousandths. So thousandths ends here, and I want 117. So 117. So this decimal, 3 and 117 thousandths. Okay, last one, 89 thousandths. So thousandths tells me where my place value is going to end. And this time I want just 89. But again, there's nothing in this spot. I have my decimal point. I don't have anything in my tenths, so I'm going to fill it with a 0. So this looks like 0.089, and the way we say that is 89 thousandths. So, last thing, how would we take a decimal like this and turn it into words? Okay? So I know when I look at this, if I write it in my place value chart, so I have 0.0054. Okay, I know I'm going to end in the 10,000th spot. So I know that I'm going to end in the 10,000th spot. But I need to know how many 10,000ths I have. So look at this number. What number do you see right here? When I look at that number, it says 54. So what I have is 54 10,000ths. Take the last one, 4 decimal point 16. Think about what we know. This 4 is a whole number. Okay? The decimal point shows that I have a whole number and a decimal. So I have 4 and then when I look at my decimal, if I look at this number, I see 16, and then the 6 is in that hundredths place. So I have 16, and it ends in the hundredths place, so I have 4 and 1600ths. And that's how we can use decimal place value to figure out how to write decimals.